A few months back, when I was really out of work, I had a friend suggest that I should make some tamales and offer them up for sale. What the heck, I'll make a few. But by the time work started up again, I had made 85 dozen tamales, and by far the most popular was the red chili pork. Now, tamales have a reputation for taking forever to make, true, but if you break up the steps across multiple days, it's actually pretty manageable. For me, the first step here is the red chili sauce. Here's the star of the show, New Mexico dried red chili. I can get this from Fiesta. A lot of local grocery stores will have this as well. Here's the package. Get it. I'm sure the packaging will all look differently, but this one's labeled New Mexico chili pods. Hot. Not really all that hot. So if you're looking to make something hot, you got to add something else. That's what these serranos are for. I've got about 5 big serranos. I'm gonna roast them, add them. Hopefully it'll add a lot of heat. It all ends up being processed. All the skin and all that gets processed out, so shouldn't matter me adding this to it. So here we go. Okay, so the first step is to toast this. I've already washed this and let it dry out. Got most of the dirt and stuff off of it. So we're going to toast this. Get this pan going over a medium-low heat. You don't want it to get too hot. You don't want to burn this. You're just trying to toast it. Get a quick toasting. I've got water here boiling, ready for these to go directly in once these are toasted. So here we are. Give them a minute by themselves. Don't crowd the pan too much. I always do though. Whatever. I just want a little bit of space for them to brown. And I've left the tops on right now because they're still kind of hard to take off. Once you get a little toasted, they're a little bit easier to take out. I like to take them off before I put them in there. I'm going to give that just a minute. Chilies are already ready to turn over. Smells so good. You gotta watch out though. Open door. This stuff gets pungent after a while, especially if it starts to burn. It gets really, really pungent. So you may have to open a door or a window or something. It's already there. Yeah, this is quick. Usually puff up a little bit as well. Yeah, this one's ready. Alright, so we just rip top off here, toss that inside. Hot! I'll let these sit for a minute. Put these on in place. I do a lot of this with my hands. Feel free to use the tongs that I set here. Tongs take a little bit more effort to get right, but you don't burn yourself. It's up to you. Yeah. Oh, well, I forgot to take the top off out. One more batch after that. Go. Yeah, so much easier to deal with once they've cooled off just a little bit. If you're in a hurry, you could actually just leave these on, blend it up, might not even matter, because it all gets strained out anyway, so no big deal. Ooh, yeah. This one might actually be just a little too brown. That's all right. I guess I may as well throw these on now too. Give them a little bit of toasting before I put them in the water. Because why not? Oh, this is pungent. Oof. Whew. This one's tough. Get out. Okay, that's all the chili. And it helps it go a little faster if you just push down on this. Alright, this looks like enough time. Pull these out. Okay, I'm just going to cut the top off these so they cook a little faster. Yeah. All right. Just wait for all this to get water. Alright, oh yeah, I guess it would help to turn this one off. Alright, we're done with this pan. Alright, I'm sure there's plenty of chili that are ready on the bottom. I'm just going to pull them out. See these red? You turn this really great shade of red when they're ready. As they've pulled all the moisture they can from the water into the chili. Yeah, it's pretty good too. Oh yeah, it's dark brown sometimes as well. Spilling all over the place. Oh well. Okay, I think that's all the red chili from there. There might be a few small pieces, but it doesn't really matter. This could probably take a little bit longer boiling in here, but it's going to get blended, so it really doesn't matter, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out and just go with it. Alright, turning off the heat here. We're done with this. When you blend this, you're going to need some more liquid, because blending it just the way it is here, just the chilies, it won't blend. You need a lot more water added to this to make it the right consistency to blend that you're trying to get to. Some people suggest that you can use this water here, and I think my mom uses that. She uses a little bit to add to it. It adds a lot more spice to it and probably some flavor, but I think sometimes the flavor can be a little bitter when you use this water. So instead of adding this water to it, I'm just going to go ahead and add some filtered water to it, and we'll go ahead and throw that in the blender. Be right back. Alright, I don't know how much. Maybe about half the way up. Something like that. It's actually okay to add more water to it because you're going to eventually end up cooking it down. So let's try that. Let's see what we got here. Alright, give me a moment while I set up my blender. Okay, blending time. Yeah, needs a little bit more water and a little bit of blending. So I am going to push things around in here. Add a little more water. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Give it one more try. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, great. Next, I have a food mill. And it gets processed into this food mill. The food mill keeps the fibrous stuff, the seeds, the outside of the chili, the skin, keeps it all on top, and it allows everything else, the interior of the chili, to go down into the bottom. And there's just this presser that compresses things, and it squeezes it and keeps squeezing it until you've got all of the liquid out of it. So here we go. About half of it in there. Do it in two passes. All right, just turn. And I'll lift this up so you can see what's going on here. Oops. There you go. There's the pureed chili without any of the fiber stuff. Nice. All right, processing. I'm sure they make some sort of a motorized machine to do this, but it's kind of fun making it by hand. Like, I know that this is one of the things I would love to do when my mom was making it. She would get the the chili and blend it, and then she would put it in her. She has a slightly different version of this, and I would just sit there and turn the thing until the chili went through. Feeling useful as a child. I never actually thought that I'd be making it for real myself, but here I am. All right, here's the other half of this. That's all right. Okay. A little squeaky. So could use some oil. Oops. Bad techie, bad techie. And every once in a while it'll just kind of spin its wheels. You just go backwards with this, I found. You can scrape it up and kind of start anew, pressing, sort of, getting a little bit more liquid out of this. So there's still a whole lot of liquid. You can actually add more liquid to this and get more of the stuff out of it. Just end up with a little more liquid. What I'm actually going to do is go ahead and throw some water inside this. Get as much of this chili out of here as we can. Just pour it over this dry stuff inside here. A little bit more out of that. Alright, that's good there. Alright, let's finish this up. So I think that's it. I think I can work on that a little bit more, but I don't think I'm going to get much more out of that. Okay, so I can just go ahead and remove this. Find a good place for that. Okay, and so here's what we have at the end. This nice creamy red sauce. Pretty awesome. Taste it and it's probably very bitter. It needs to cook first before you get the actual good flavor out of this. Yeah, it's a little sweet, get earthy. It's actually really sweet, and I'm not exactly feeling the heat. Okay, there it is, kind of on the back end. So they're not going to be the absolute hottest, but it's okay. You can add habaneros to this. You can add any sort of chili that's really hot to it. Just blend it in with the chilies, and the heat will get added to the rest of the sauce, and it'll be good. Okay. So here's our sauce. Next step is to cook it down. I'm going to go ahead and cook it in here to get rid of all the contents of this. So give me just a moment. Okay, so the next step here is we're going to make a roux. You don't have to make a roux. You can actually skip this step and make some pretty fine chili sauce. But I find that the roux adds some depth of flavor to it, and it thickens it a little bit more than normal. And I like the thickness of it. I don't add so much, but it's still good. Okay, so I'm going to start that on a medium. Just wash this, so I'm going to let this evaporate for a minute before I get my ingredients. Okay. So in a roux, it's really mostly fat and some sort of starch, flour, wheat flour is what I like. And I'm going to go ahead and try using this pork fat, rendered pork fat. A lot of times I will use rendered chicken fat from when I'm cooking other things, if I have some left, or rendered beef fat, but pork fat works great in anything. And this doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. I think it's been refined to some extent, so it's good. Okay. And so ideally you're going to use equal parts fat and flour, and then make up the rest like I do. Okay, this is good. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so we don't end up burning things. I don't want to burn everything to start off with. Okay, so I'd say about that much. Lost my bay leaf. Okay, so here is the oil. I'm just grab a handful. Like I said, equal proportions. So whatever you use in oil, just use equal portion of this. I'm not going to measure anything out. I'm just going to throw it in there generally. So that's about the right amount. Sure. Alright, so you don't want to let this sit for too long. You gotta get it all mixed together, get those lumps out as quickly as possible. There. All the lumps are out. Nice. So what you want to do is just let this go on a medium-low heat until it gets some color to it. The more color, the more nutty flavor it has to it. You don't want to get too far, but I think adding a little to this extra step really helps. Alright, once this is to the right color, then what I'm going to do is add in some chicken stock. Most of the time I use chicken stock from chicken that I've just cooked. I don't have that right now, so in a pinch you can go ahead and use any sort of chicken broth, chicken stock that you can find. Better tasting ends up coming out better, but really it's just to enhance the flavor of this red chili. So, okay, we're getting close. I can smell a little bit of burniness. Yeah, a little bit of burniness. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken broth. Go little by little. give it a stir. Give it a little bit of a stir. A little bit more. Don't add too much. So a little bit at a time. There. And as long as you get it in mixed together quickly enough, it'll be nice and smooth. This nice texture to it right now. Add a little bit more right now. Probably end up adding more and more as I go, but I like adding it gradually. Mix it in slowly. This is actually pretty good. Yeah, tastes like chicken broth. Add a little bit of salt to this. Get a better idea of the flavor. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just add a little bit more of this. More than likely I'll add the rest of this, but I'll do that later. So we've got a pretty good consistency here. It's very watery. Everything's mixed in together nicely. Okay. So this is the point that I feel comfortable adding the red chili sauce to it now. Okay, and then I will mix these two together. Yeah, it's pretty thick. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this chicken broth to it. Oops. Getting better. Okay, that's a pretty fine consistency. Still tastes very raw, but has a chicken flavor to it. So now all we got to do is just add the rest of the seasonings and cook it down for a bit. So I'm gonna put 5 cloves of garlic in here. Why not? You could add more, add less if you like if you don't like garlic. But I really do like garlic, and I think it adds a lot of depth to this. So I'm going to add 5. Add 1 bay leaf to it. And a little bit more salt and pepper. I think I can add more salt at the end, fine tune it then once it's actually closer to what it's going to be. For now, I want to add a little bit of salt to it so we can taste the flavors going on. Some ground black pepper. All right. Alright, so I'm going to want to get this to a boil. We'll go medium-high heat now. Get it to the first semblance of a boil. Once you start seeing the bubbles popping up, then give it a good stir. And then take it down to about medium, maybe medium-low. And just let it simmer uncovered. Indeterminate amount of time. I'm not exactly sure. We'll just go with it. Yeah, okay, so I will check back in a little bit later. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes since I last left you. I've been stirring it about once every 15 minutes or so it doesn't burn on the bottom. You don't want it to burn. It'll provide too much of a burnt flavor to it. You want a little bit of burnt, but not like that. So, here we are. See, if you leave it for a while, it starts to dry out in some places on top, make pools of water in other places. It's alright. Just want to make sure that everything gets stirred around nicely, mixed together. One of the ways that I can tell this is done, not only by flavor, but once the garlic is easy to smash, you're really close to done. So I'm going to go ahead and fish out a piece of garlic and see where we're at with that. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Here's a piece of garlic. Pushing on it. Yeah, I can squash it real easy. Yeah, that's pretty great. So we're really close to done. Something that you can do if you really like garlic, instead of taking these out, you can actually just crush them into the chili sauce and just make it a part of it so it ends up really garlicky. I know some people like to take it out. I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it in. I'm going to try to find them all and just smash them up against the side of the pan. If I can find them all. Yeah, so find them and smash them up against the wall. Eventually, it'll just disintegrate into the sauce. And it's not the worst thing in the world if you find pieces of garlic in your sauce. It's actually really tasty. Alright, so I think I got most of them. You could also use a masher to make that a lot faster, but it really doesn't matter. Alright, I guess let's go for a taste test and see how this tastes. Just from the garlic, I know that we're really close to done. You can also taste it. Once the rawness is gone, you get some cooking and browning done. Alright, let's taste it. Needs more salt, first off. Oh, eruptions. Alright, let's taste that again. Yeah, it's really close. I think it needs to cook just a little bit longer. It needs a little bit more salt. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and let this cook for another 20-30 more minutes. And then I will turn it off. I will be back about 20 minutes. Okay, we're at about 45 minutes total cooking time, and I think it's ready. No, there's a lot of chili all over the place. This boils crazy and stuff goes everywhere. And that's even with this guard on top. So if you're gonna cook this, do your best to take precautions because everything is going to get colored red. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill this. Oof, got all that chili dripping down. Oh well, whatever. Alright, here it is. Let's test that. Yeah. Still has a brightness, a hint of brightness to the chili, but you can tell it's cooked, and it's cooked well. Okay. So as I was saying, this is the base of what I use for making my tamales. I will cook cook pork and shred that and then add it to this and then cook the two of them together and add a little bit more broth to that. But this is the first step in making tamales for me. But if you make this sauce, you can use it for enchiladas, smothered burritos, anything that you would use red chili sauce on. This is it right here. This is the stuff. Yeah, I love it. And so what I'll normally do is with this batch I would add it to the pork and then keep a little extra. And it's great for breakfast. If you make some eggs, pour a little of this on top of the eggs. Amazing. Okay, well this is it. This is my red chili sauce. This is what it looks like. I hope you guys can see that pretty well. This is my New Mexico red chili sauce with a few serranos in there. Some added heat. And actually it is pretty warm now. Now that I'm tasting it, now it's cooked down a little bit more. You can taste the heat in there. So I'm glad that I added those serranos. Okay, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me and spending all this time watching me cook. I hope that eventually someone will get a chance to try this out and make their own version, maybe teach someone else. It's good to keep the food going, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Peace.